What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
your boy, Jake Mother Effin' Bows in the mic too.
Jake is dealing with a little bit of a cold or possibly allergies, so the voice isn't
both.
Possibly both. The voice isn't at its peak performance as of right now. But guys, we got a great episode for you today. We kind of touched on this a little bit from our last, instant reaction winners and losers of the 2023 NFL draft. We're going to be going division by division. We're going to go team by team and kind of break down the prospects, the teams, the players that were drafted by each team. Guys, I do want to give a short little disclaimer that grading these players is completely subjective, and that goes for any analyst. We're not analysts ourselves, but we do a little bit more research than maybe the typical person. So it's all based off of projection. This is how we project the players to be in the NFL. I mean, Jake and I have talked about this previously. You have undrafted free agents who turn into all pros and, go into the Hall of Fame. So it doesn't really matter where this team drafted this player at. This is all based off of projection, and we can only go off basically stats and what our eyes can see. So that's the short little disclaimer. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our Instagram, Cannonballs with a Z _podcast. Today, we're going to be covering the AFC North. Jake, do you have anything to add before we get going?
No, I'm ready to get into it. I've been watching, some tape on pretty much every player in this division that just got drafted. Welcome. Looks like there's a lot of, young talent coming in. Always makes the game a lot more exciting, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think we should start this out alphabetical order with the
Let's do it.
Baltimore Ravens.
Let's do it. All right. So with their first overall pick, their first rounder was Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. And my initial reaction is they got a great wide receiver. I was really hoping that the Chargers were going to take Zay Flowers. They ended up going Quentin Johnston instead. But Zay Flowers offers a lot of utilization on the field. You can use him out wide. You can use him in the slot. He's shifty. He's fast. He's got pretty solid hands. The only downside is he's a little bit on the smaller side, but he kind of makes up for it in, his yak yards. He's a tough player to bring down. He plays bigger than he actually is, and I respect the shit out of it. I think it's a great pick. Honestly, I think being able to utilize him in the passing game for Lamar Jackson is going to add another dimension, especially with OBJ coming onto this team. So I like the pick first and foremost. I really do like Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I like him too. He was, in some early draft boards, some people had him as the number one wide receiver in this year's draft. I don't think that's the case. I think he's good. I think he can be a solid number two, which is, what he would be in the Ravens offense. And I think he instantly becomes, probably their second best wide receiver. I'm not trying to take anything away from OBJ. I want to see what he can do coming off the, the 2 ACL injuries. But Mark Andrews, OBJ, and now Zay Flowers. And don't forget about, Devin Duvernay and Rashad Bateman. They can definitely contribute. First impression of this guy, he looks exactly like Hollywood Brown, but
I think he does.
I think maybe more of a more polished route runner. But yeah, I think it's a good pick. Let's see. PFF had him as a average player. So average pick. So, and then their next pick, Trenton Simpson, linebacker out of Clemson. I thought this was a pretty good pick. I watched some tape on him. It looks pretty good. Clemson didn't have the best year last year, but I thought this was a good pick for the Ravens. Seems like a typical type of Ravens player. I think, Patrick Queen, the news just came out that they didn't
exercise his fifth-year option.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. So, probably looking to replace him. They have Roquan Smith. So this guy lined up next to Roquan. I think he could learn. I think he can learn from Patrick Queen as well. But I think they're looking to replace Patrick Queen. So yeah, I think he instantly comes in and makes an impact for this defense.
Yeah, I
And
like Trenton Simpson. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, and PFF has him as a very good grade.
Yeah, I like Trenton Simpson here at number 86. I think that he was the best blitzing linebacker in this year's draft class. He kind of reminds me of a less athletic Isaiah Simmons from Clemson. I think that you can utilize him in the same way. He's rangy, he's fast. He's a sideline to sideline guy. He plays with a good amount of physicality. I don't think that he's necessarily the best in coverage, but he's all right. But I think that you can utilize him, especially in the blitzing game. And I think that that's his bread and butter. Like, he can be a pass rusher when he needs to. And he's pretty decent against the run as well. And, the Ravens typically have a great defense. They're a well-coached defense. So I think that he'll fit right into the defense. I like the pick.
Next, they picked up Tavius Robinson. Sorry, I don't know why I had a problem, but I watched a couple highlight reels of this guy. He looks pretty solid. Looks like another typical Ravens player. PFF had it as a below average. I don't really have too much to say about him, but looks like he can come in, be a part of the rotation on that D line. So Ravens are known for having a good defense, so I like it.
Yeah, I mean, he is 6'6". He's a little bit slender for the height. I think he's about 250 and 6'6". Not the most athletic guy. I mean, he's got a decent amount of athleticism to him. He ran, I think, like a 4.6 40. Broad jump was around 10 feet. So he can offer some utilization. I think that the Ravens will utilize him correctly, but I wasn't super happy about this pick. I think this is the first pick that the Ravens had where I wasn't like blown away or like, oh, they got great positional value. I think it's all right value. I think that, this is probably around the range that he would have gone. What did they pick him at? What number? At 124. So yeah, I could see him going there, especially because there was a run on edge early on in the draft, especially in the first 2 rounds. So a lot of the key players that you were expecting to possibly fall to the third, they were kind of grabbed up and snatched up in the second round. So I could see why they went to this guy. But yeah, I wasn't like blown away by this pick, but I think that he can offer some utilization in the pass game and in the run game.
Yeah. So their next pick, Caillou Blue Kelly, Stanford cornerback. I sure really like this pick. Watched a couple highlight reels. And I think they got great. I think they got great value in this pick and their last pick. But I think this guy can, immediately contribute on special teams. And what's his name? What's their cornerback's name? Number 44.
Cornerback?
Yeah, on the Ravens. He's been on the Chiefs, the Rams. I can't think of his name. He's getting up there in age, so he's not going to be there forever. So, or maybe he'll play on the opposite side of him. So, I like this pick. I like it. Go watch his highlight reels. I think he can. I think he can. Fight for a starting position on this defense.
I think that he definitely offers good positional depth. I don't know if he would be ready for his first round or for year 1 to come in and play a starting role. He does offer decent athleticism, especially for the height. I think he is one of the bigger cornerbacks height wise. A lot of them are under 6 feet, but he's about 6 foot. He's almost 200 pounds, almost 11 foot broad jump, 4.5 40. So not bad. You kind of want to see that number down in the 4.4s, especially at the NFL level. But, you can utilize 4.5, especially if you're good in coverage, whether it's, zone or man. I like Caillou Blue Kelly. I think that he's going to need a little bit of time to develop at the NFL level because coming from Stanford, he's not facing the greatest competition in the Pac-12. I think that the Pac-12 has some good receivers, but not a tremendous amount. So I think that he can be utilized and he's going to a great defensive scheme, especially for cornerback. So I like the fit. I worry about him year 1.
So this next player really couldn't find a whole lot of tape on him. But
what's his name, Jake?
Malasala Amuvawe Lawalu.
Yeah, dude, I think that was pretty solid. Dude, I was waiting for you to try and pronounce this one. That was solid as hell. I'll take that.
Thank you. Yeah, so he's a offensive tackle for Oregon. Like I said, I really could not find a lot of tape on him. I mean, there's not like, unless you're one of the top, 10 tackles in the draft, there's not going to be, tons of highlight reels on you. I'm sure there is somewhere. But you know what? Good depth piece. I'm sure he'll, it's just good depth. It's always good to have tons of linemen, I say. So I like it. PFF, I think they have it as a below average pick. So what can you say? But it's,
so
it's really hard to.
One thing that I'll say, because he's the tackle from Oregon, so I've seen a little bit more tape on him. Mm-hmm. I like him utilized in the run game. I think that he can, just move people out of the way. I think that he's like a strong physical force. He's just not very athletic. He is not very athletic at all. He's very slow. He's got a terrible broad jump, terrible vertical jump. But he's got heavy hands, and if you utilize him correctly, I think more so in an outside zone scheme, I think that he could be utilized correctly, especially if you pull, because I think that he can knock out linebackers left and right, or possibly go against some defensive linemen. He can get beat by speed, and if a pass rusher has more than just one or two moves in their arsenal, he can easily lose this.
I'm pretty sure the one thing I did see of this guy is it's like a short. It's like a reel on YouTube, and it's him getting blown up by Jalen Carter, like just getting absolutely tossed.
I think that was the first game of the season this most recent year when Georgia absolutely smoked Oregon.
Yeah, I forgot about that game. It was sad. But this last pick, I think this honestly could be the best pick. Or their second.
I think it has the best positional value. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's just talk about it. Andrew Voorhees with the number 229 pick, offensive guard out of USC. PFF has that as an elite grade. He was one of the top linemen.
He was my number 5, I think. I think he was my number 5 interior offensive lineman. And to see him fall all the way down here was very surprising to me. I don't know if it's because he didn't do the 40. I don't know if it's because he didn't do the 10-yard split, 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, whatever it was. Athleticism score, he didn't jump very far. He didn't jump very high, but he's a lineman. He's 310 pounds, 6'6". He's got short arms, so you're definitely going to keep him as a guard. You're not putting him outside as a tackle, but I like him, man. I think that he did a good job at SC. I liked him in the run game, and I liked him in the pass game. So I'm surprised that they were able to find this value here. It's kind of like the Chargers getting Jamari Sawyer last year in the 6th round, and now he's a starter. He's going to be a starting guard in the NFL. So it's crazy. You can find some gems in the rough.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I like it. So that was all their picks. If you had to grade it, what would you grade their draft?
If I was going to give the Baltimore Ravens a grade, I would say probably about a B+ to an A-. I like Zay Flowers. I like Trenton Simpson. I like Tavius Robinson a little bit. Him and Caillou, or him and dude, I'm not even going to try and pronounce my tackle's name from Oregon.
Yeah,
dude, that's perfect. I think that they might be not necessarily reaches, but I wasn't as excited about them as some of the other picks. I think that Andrew Voorhees in, pick 229 is a tremendous, it's tremendous value, especially in like their last pick of the draft. So I think that they definitely snagged some key players. I think that they helped their offense. I think they helped their defense for sure. So I would give it an A- to a B+. I'm probably leaning more towards A-.
I would give it a solid B. Nothing too crazy or splashy. But I definitely think that you got, at least 1, 2, possibly 3 starters and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 depth piece, kind of rotational players. So I think it's a pretty solid, draft. Nothing too crazy though. They still had to save some money for Lamar, but I give it a solid B.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're curious, the Dane and folks listening at home, NFL.com gave them an A, and PFF gave them a B as well. So there you have it.
All right. So let's move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah.
Yes. We're doing this alphabetical order, folks. Keep it simple.
Yes. I will start off by saying this. I actually like the Bengals draft more than I like the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I think now I'm remembering, I think the more we go in order, I think the more I like the drafts.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to navigate here. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just looking at them. Oh yeah. There's a lot of players that they drafted that I actually I enjoyed watching. I'm not going to lie. Let's start off with their first pick. Clemson edge Myles Murphy. I think this was a solid pick for them. It's later in the draft, and it is part of that Clemson type of defense that's kind of like the remnants of it from when they were still elite. I liked enjoying his tape. I think he could immediately come in onto the D line, learn from Hendrickson, and just contribute on that D line. So I like the pick. I think he looks pretty solid. PFF has it as a very good grade. So what do you think about this?
I love it actually. Like you said, him coming onto the defensive line, he's going to have some great mentors, some great veterans who are going to be able to help him at the NFL level. I think he's got all the power in the world. I think that he's great already in the run game, but he needs to develop his pass rushing sets. And I think that's where he's going to, learn at the NFL level behind Hendrickson and kind of learn the development of that aspect of his game. And I think if he does, he'll easily be a top 5 edge rusher in this class, because I think that, he has the intangibles. He has the strength, the physicality, the mentality to play the position. It's just developing the pass rushing moves is his biggest weakness as of right now for me. I think that if he can get a couple moves, say that BJ Ojulari, he already has the strength that BJ doesn't have, but BJ has the bend and he's got the arsenal of different pass rushing moves that he can use. If he can at least learn some of the pass rushing moves, I think he'll be solid, dude. I love the positional value at 28 for him. I think Myles Murphy could have gone top 20 in my opinion. So I like it.
Yep. All right. Next pick, number 60, DJ Turner, the second out of Michigan.
I love it.
I like this pick a lot too. I was watching his tape. He looks like physical corner. Looks like he's loves the tackle. I think if I remember correctly, he's pretty solid in the run game. So I like it. I know you're better at talking about draft prospects, so I'll let you take this one away, Dan.
DJ Turner is one of the more athletic cornerbacks in this year's draft. The dude's a freak. He ran a 4.26 40, so he's got great speed. He's 5'11". The only concern I have is his frame. He's 178, so he's on the lighter side. If he could bulk up to about 185, maybe 190, which is not too terribly much, but it's probably going to put him in the 4.3 range. Big whoop. 4.3 is still an elite speed. Anything under 4.4 is insane. He almost jumped 11 feet in the broad jump, 38-inch vertical. So he's got some good hops. He's got some, good power, some burst. He's explosive. And I think that shows up when it comes to his tackling, his physicality. So I like him as a cornerback. I think that he could definitely... I'm a little concerned that he may sometimes get a little too handsy, but I think that, he positions himself well. He's got fluid hips. he's got the speed to kind of make up if someone gets past him. So I think there's a lot that you can do with him. I like the pick overall.
Right on. This next pick, I think this is one of my favorite of theirs. We had them taking a Alabama safety, just we picked the wrong one. They drafted Jordan Battle, safety out of Alabama, at number 95, and I like it. I mean, they lost Jesse Bates in free agency.
Yeah.
I think he immediately comes in and, I don't want to say immediately, but I think he earns his right to start right away. And he looks like a hard-hitting safety, man. I like it. I watched some tape. He looks like he loves to hit. Looks like he has a knack for, putting his helmet on the ball, just causing disruption. So I like this pick a lot. I'll let you take it away, but they have it as an above average pick.
I like Jordan Battle here. I think that his combine definitely kind of hindered his stock a little bit and maybe put a halt on it, because I think Jordan Battle was probably going in the second round until he ran like the 40, which wasn't great. I don't think he even did a vertical jump, broad jump, or 3-cone, any of that. But he ran a 4.55, so he's not the most athletic, which kind of shows up when they face Tennessee. And you have Jalen Hyatt like running past him. So I am a little concerned about the speed, but like you said, he's a hard hitting safety. I think it's kind of a similar predicament that Bryant Branch found himself in. They're both very talented, defensive backs. They just didn't test the best at the combine, which kind of hurt their stock. But, I like Jordan Battle overall. I think that he can get burnt a little bit in coverage, but, he's only going to get better. He's 6'1", he's 209, so he's got a great, frame to play this position as of right now. And it shows on tape, man. He's a hard hitter and he positions himself well when he's able to. He just gets kind of burnt sometimes and lost in translation if they run past him. It's my only knock on him for right now, but I like the pick overall, especially where'd they get him in the third round?
Round
pick
3,
95.
Pick number 95.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. I know you were kind of excited about this pick, so
Yes.
I'll let you take the lead on this one.
I love Charlie Jones. I really do. He kind of reminds me of maybe a little bit smaller Cooper Kupp. He's athletic. He runs a 4.4 340, which is great. He jumps over 10 feet. I think his vertical wasn't maybe the best. I think it was around like 35, 36. But, he's consistent, man. He's reliable. He's got good hands. He's got great route running. He's just Mr. Reliable. And to find him in the fourth round, I think is great positional value. And I don't know, man. Like, if you watch his tape, maybe he doesn't like jump off the screen every single play. But like I said, man, he's consistent. He's always there. He's always a threat. He can high point a ball. He can make contested catches for his size. He's physical for his size. And, he's got great hands. He's got great feet. I don't think there's much that I don't like about Charlie Jones. I think that he could be, a poor man's Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I watched the tape on this man, and I like what I see. I get what you mean, Cooper Kupp kind of esque. I like the pick. I mean, he's going to be playing next to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd's not getting any younger. I mean, I don't know what his contract situation is, but he could be on the last leg of his contract in Cincinnati. So they could be looking to replace him quick. And, if this guy can be the third receiver behind T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, look out, because his highlight tape, he looked like one of those just speedy Hunter Renfrow type wide receivers. So, and Hunter Renfrow like eats behind, better wide receivers. So sometimes you need that. So I think he could excel in this offense.
And he's got a great quarterback throwing him the ball. So he's going to be put in good position.
Yes. He's went to probably one of the best teams for him. This next pick, I think this could be sneakily one of their best picks. I don't know why, but I've never even heard of this kid, and I loved watching his tape. Oh man, like he's a patient runner. Sorry. Illinois running back Chase Brown with pick number 163. I loved watching this guy. Man, he's patient. He follows his blockers, and then he has that one cut, boom, burst. I don't know what the situation with Joe Mixon is. I mean, last thing I heard is they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and if he doesn't, then they're probably going to release him. So it could be the Samaje Perine. Actually, Samaje Perine signed somewhere else, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the running back situation is going to be like in Cincinnati. So yeah, I mean, this guy could come in and could immediately contribute. He kind of reminds me of almost like an Isaiah Pacheco. Like he's always just motoring his legs. They're always moving. He pushes the pile, and he's not like the biggest running back. I think he was 5'9", if I remember correctly.
5'9", but he's almost 210 pounds, so he's got a good physical frame to him.
Yeah, I really like. I don't know why. I really like this pick. I think he can excel in this offense. So, maybe look out for his name, Chase Brown.
Yeah, I like Chase Brown a lot, actually, and he's one of those players where I think if you put on the tape, he looks great. And he's very athletic. He ran a 4.40. Vertical jump was 40 inches. Broad jump was almost 11 feet. So he's got good athleticism. I think the only thing that kind of hurt him a little bit is he didn't necessarily have the best Senior Bowl week. His brother is Sidney Brown, who I'm also very high on, from Illinois, who was the safety. He was one of my favorite prospects, actually, just because I see the potential in him. I like Chase also. I think Chase, maybe had a rough first day at the Senior Bowl, but then started picking it up. And you have potential with this guy. There's a lot of potential, especially when you're working with like really good athleticism. The only thing that I'll say, I don't think he's a great pass blocker. And running backs in the NFL nowadays have to be a good pass blocker. Like it's just part of the game. I think he's got good burst. I think that he could be a little bit more elusive. And I think that, you could utilize him as like a bell cow, because he was just utilized a shit ton in the running game for Illinois. I like what I see. I think he has a lot of potential, and I think he's going into a good situation behind a good O-line and a good offensive coordinator. So we'll see. I like the pick a lot.
Yeah. For the last two, for Charlie Jones, PFF had at above average, and Chase Brown at a good grade. This next pick, Andre Losivas. I don't know.
I think
he's a Princeton wide receiver. He's a speedy wide receiver. He kind of looks like, like he might contribute as a punt returner, kick returner. Maybe put him out wide, and just have, make him run the 9 route. He looked pretty fast on tape. I don't know what his 40 time, 4.4.
He ran a 4.43.
Yeah, so not like anything crazy fast, but he had a little bit of a highlight reel catching the deep bomb. So yeah, I mean, depth piece, special teamer. Hey, I'm not gonna talk too much about it, unless you need to, Dane.
No, I don't want to talk too terribly much about it. I think that once you get the ball in this man's hands, he's dangerous. I think that, he can run past a lot of people. I think that he's got great athleticism. I mean, he's an explosive player also. Not only that, he's big. He ran a 4.43 40 at 6'3", 205 pounds. So he's one of the bigger receivers. It's just, he played at Princeton, so he's going up against lesser competition. So we'll see how well it translates to the NFL. But, based off of his athleticism, I think that he could be utilized quite significantly in the NFL. So, I think he's a good depth and rotational piece to move in with these wide receivers.
Yes, I agree. And he's going to probably one of the best wide receiver rooms in the NFL. This next pick, I did not watch any tape.
It's a punter.
Yeah, punter Brad Robbins. I don't know what their punting situation is. They obviously need one, or they're trying to upgrade. So, way to think about special teams, Bengals. I'm going to move on to the next one.
I'm not gonna lie, I could hardly find any tape on DJ Ivy.
Same.
I looked, I could not
Yeah.
find hardly anything. I think I will just say I think that they're going to utilize him in special teams. We'll see like if he can move up the depth chart to play on the defensive side of the ball. I think that, he's probably going to be a third, fourth stringer at this point in time, but you can utilize him on kickoff and, punt and punt return, all that stuff, maybe make a name for himself. I just couldn't see much tape on this guy, unfortunately.
Yeah. Every video I saw on YouTube, it was like a 2-minute reel, and it was just him, getting a couple interceptions, and it was kind of not trying to take anything away from him, but it was kind of, he was in the right place at the right time. So, but you know what? Depth is always needed. So
yes,
they must have saw something in him. But with that being said, what would you give the Bengals grade?
I would give them a solid A. I really, really like the Bengals draft. I think that they I think they got great positional value. I think that they addressed positions that are only going to improve this offense and defense. They addressed cornerback, safety, wide receiver, running back. They even went special teams and got a punter. That's always cool. I don't know if I would take him in the draft. I'd probably go after an undrafted free agent, but they don't have too many holes to fill. And I think Miles Murphy's going to be an immediate impact. I think Jordan Battle will make an immediate impact. DJ Turner, they went defense with their first 3 picks, and I like all of them. And then Charlie Jones is very serviceable. Chase Brown's very serviceable. So I think their first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks are going to be great. I really do.
Yeah, I'm giving it an A as well. I think there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential starters or, rotational pieces. And yeah, I mean, the Bengals have been doing it right for the last couple of years, so I'm not gonna, say I know better than them. If you guys are wondering, NFL.com has them at an A-, and PFF has them at a solid A as well.
Hell yeah. Way to go, PFF.
All right, next in order, we have the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
And honestly, I almost forgot about the Cleveland Browns. And right when I looked at their draft, I was like, ooh, I think the Browns might have had the worst draft. But then I went and watched the tape. And honestly, I am pleasantly pleased with the Cleveland Browns draft. Maybe not their first overall pick. I think it's a solid pickup. They picked up Cedric Tillman, Tennessee wide receiver. He was behind Jalen Hyatt, so maybe he didn't get attention.
So I do want to say this really quick, not to correct you, but Cedric Tillman, I think, was pretty much their number 1, but he was dealing with injuries, which is how Jalen Hyatt started getting the spotlight.
Yes, thank you about that. I forgot. Yes, he did roll his ankle. Totally forgot about that. I mentioned that. But
oh my God, cracked the fuck out of my back. Felt good.
Yummy. But PFF has him as a very good grade. I think they said one of the videos I've said he might have been the best wide receiver on the Tennessee team. He has kind of like that. What were they saying? Like that cut ability, kind of like.
I think that he's a great route runner. I think he's got physicality. I don't think he's the fastest, but he's got strong hands. He's just a tough player, and I think that he's a little bit more physical. I would compare him somewhat to Josh Palmer, not just because they're both Tennessee wide receivers. I just think he's a little bit more physical Josh Palmer, because Josh Palmer, he's a great route runner, not the fastest guy, great hands. They remind me of one another. It's just maybe a slightly more athletic Joshua Palmer is what I would comp him to. I like it, but I think the reason I like it more is because they got him in the third round. And, this guy, if he was healthy, fully healthy for his tenure at Tennessee, I think he could have gone in the second. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, PFF had him as their 8th ranked receiver, so that's saying something. He's going to. I mean, the Browns are quietly acquiring quite a bit of wide receiver weapons. I mean, this guy, they just acquired Elijah Moore, and they have Amari Cooper still. So, I don't know. Maybe they might have a little bit of a squad this year.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down for them on how the quarterback plays.
Of course, like most teams. But yeah, I like the pick. We'll see what he can do. I actually really like this next pick a lot. This is when I started loving the Cleveland Browns draft, honestly. We got Siaki Ika.
Yeah, Siaki
from
Ika.
Baylor. Man, this dude is a run stuffer. I've never heard of this guy. I usually don't hear of most players unless they're like very high profile or Notre Dame. And I watched this man's highlight reel, watched his tape, just constantly in the backfield, constantly pushing linemen back. He's a big boy. And I think he's gonna immediately go into that Cleveland defense and contribute and start or rotate or whatever. I think this is a great pickup. I like it a lot. He's very quick and nimble on his feet. Like, he was able to chase down pretty speedy quarterbacks, get some sacks, and he's a good run stuffer. So, how do you like this pick, Dane?
If we were basing it off of his 2021 tape, I would have liked it a lot more. I think he had a much better 2021 tape than he had 2022. And I like that you mentioned, he's always in the backfield, which is true. He's a huge body. He's a big run stuffer. He's a brick wall. He's not very athletic. I mean, he's very slow. He runs like a 5.3, but he has like that quick burst. Like, he can somewhat position himself well. And like you said, he can chase down quarterbacks. He's able to position himself well. He's going to be a beast in the run game. I really think that. And that's kind of what Cleveland needed to do. Like, they needed to beef up the interior, especially because they were getting gashed last year against the run. So I like the pick. But like I said, I would have been higher on it if we were basing off of his 2021 tape instead of 2022. The production wasn't there. That's more of like a statistical measure. Like, the production wasn't there because you're not necessarily always getting the stats on like, oh, like, I'm in the backfield, I'm disrupting the play, which he does. He's a disruptor. He's going to disrupt the play, and then someone else is going to clean it up because he's getting so much attention focused on him. So I like the play. I like the player.
All right, their next player.
Love it. I fucking love Isaiah McGuire.
Okay. Oh, wait, no. Isaiah McGuire. No, you're forgetting about DeJuan Jones out of Ohio
DeJuan
State.
Jones. I did miss him. I did miss DeJuan Jones.
Maybe this man didn't get enough love because of the other tackle on the other side, our best tackle. I mean, I definitely didn't notice this guy. But holy crap, we have probably the biggest player in in this year's draft. DeJuan Jones, 6'8", 359. Watched the video. They said he has like the record for biggest wingspan in the Senior Bowl or some shit like that.
The dude's a mountain. He's 6'8", bro.
Yeah, he is.
His arms are almost 37 inches.
Yeah, it's insane. He's a huge dude. And he wasn't just watching his tape. He wasn't just a big body out there. His footwork is very good, I thought. He kept moving. He was always moving to the next level. And he was just throwing people around, honestly. So I like this pick a lot. I think, Deshaun Watson needs it. Keep him healthy. And I don't know, maybe I don't know what their left tackle situation is.
He's going to play right, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So
I'm almost positive he's going to play right tackle.
Yeah. So I like this pick a lot. I think, immediately contributes.
Right. I like DeJuan Jones a lot. He is one of those players because he is so freaking monstrous that, like, if he gets his hands on you, the play's over. Like, you're done because he's so big. Where he's going to struggle is against speed and kind of quickness getting around him because he's almost 400 pounds. This guy's like 375 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. And he's 6'8". So you're going to beat him with speed. That's the one area of concern that I have with him is, if he's going to be able to kind of go against these tweener type, BJ Ojolari, just like getting around him with speed. I think that could possibly cause a problem. But if he's able to get his hands on you, which are freaking massive, his hands are almost like 12 inches long. His wingspan is ridiculous. So if he gets his arms on you, the play is over. I mean, he's a beast. I think that he needs to clean up some of his footwork. I like his footwork. I think that it can be better. I really think that he can be better. And he's going to be top heavy because he's so tall. So like if he's going up against a smaller defender who's got more leverage, I think that can kind of put him off balance a little bit. So he's going to have a couple struggles, I think, in the NFL, but I think that if he's coached correctly, he can be a beast. I really do. So I like this pick overall.
Yeah. He is very, like, you could just see it on his frame. He's very top heavy. So, all right, Dan, take away this, since you love this pick.
Okay.
This next pick.
The reason I like Isaiah McGuire so much coming from Missouri is Broderick Jones, who was one of the top tackles taken from Georgia. Isaiah McGuire actually manhandled him. Like, it was impressive. Missouri almost beat Georgia this year. I don't know if you remember earlier in the season when they played. They gave him a run for their money. And Isaiah McGuire doesn't get the recognition or the love I think that he deserves. He's a very physical defender. And he can play defensive end. He's not the most athletic, but, for being 6'4", 268, almost 270, he ran a 4.7, which is good. Jumped over 10 feet, which is great. Almost a 37-inch vertical, which is awesome. So he's got the athletic tool set that you need. He's got the physicality. He's got the violent hands, which is what I like to see. And he's got decent bend for how big he is. Like, I like his play style, man. And he comes down fast. He is a downhill defender. And I think he's going to be great in the passing game or the run game. He's going to be a run stuffer, in my opinion. And I think he also utilizes enough hand movement placement and move sets where he's going to be utilized in the passing attack as well.
Yeah, I like this pick a lot too. Yeah, I kind of like their middle picks the best. But I like this pick. I love watching him. I think he contributes. I like what they're doing. They're, bolstering up that defense. I mean, I was thinking about it. I think, we'll see about Deshaun Watson, but if he can return to form, I think the AFC North might have the best quarterbacks. Overall, as a division.
Yeah, I would say 3 of the 4 I would definitely put in the top 15. Because we'll have to see. Because I mean, there's a lot up in the air with 2 of them, in my opinion. I want to see Lamar come back to form. I really do, because I love watching him play when he's at his peak performance. So,
yeah, I'm not worried about Lamar and Joe. I'm worried about
Bill
Kenny
Cosby.
Pickett. Yeah, I'm worried about Bill Cosby, and then Kenny Pickett. I mean, he showed me something, and I think he can take his next step, especially for what they did to him or for him in this draft. But back to the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I like this pick. I think he immediately makes an impact for this team. This next pick, I think this is a sneaky good pick.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think you and me have a mutual love for UCLA because we both kind of semi-hate. Well, I hate USC. I don't know if you semi-hate them, but
no, I don't hate USC at all.
Yeah, well, I hate USC, but I also like UCLA. I love their uniforms, so I root for them sometimes. But yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Sorry, I was going to call him Smith. Dorian Thompson-Robinson with the number 140 pick. They lost Jacoby Brissett. And, who was going to be their backup? I don't know. And this guy does pretty much exactly what Deshaun Watson. He's like a what's the Snoop from the Ravens. Tyler Huntley. He's like a Tyler Huntley for the Cleveland Browns.
What?
So I like this pick. He's not going to come in and take Deshaun Watson's job unless Deshaun Watson is just complete ass. But there's no way that they're going to bench him. I mean, they paid him way too much damn money. They gave up way too much. He's their quarterback for the next several years. But, in case of, knock on wood, an injury, I think he can come in and do exactly what they want to do on offense. So I like this pick. I don't think he's going to be, like I said, an immediate contributor or anything, but I really do like this pick.
I like this pick a lot also because I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, always played with a chip on his shoulder. And, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can definitely get it done on the ground. He's agile. He's able to make quick cuts. He's able to make good throws as well. He doesn't have the greatest of all accuracy, but he can put it where he needs to. He can place the ball where he needs to. I just like him overall. I like his mentality. I like the swag that he comes in with. He's got confidence. He plays harder than almost anyone on UCLA's team. Like, he wanted to win more, it felt like, than any player I've watched in college football in the last 2 years. Like, he just wanted it, and it meant so much to him. And so, when you see him like win a huge game, you see the excitement, you see the emotion that flows out of him. And I love that. I respect the fuck out of that. So, I'm rooting for Dorian Thompson-Robinson if he does get a start, which I'm assuming he will have an opportunity to start a game here and there. It's just kind of when it will be. But, I think he's a very serviceable backup, especially to Deshaun Watson. So, yeah, I like the pick overall.
And to piggyback on the mentality thing, you want that in a quarterback. You want that as your backup, honestly. You want that out of every player. And the old saying, you're only as good as your weakest link. So, if he's your weakest link, then, you're doing something right. Just FYI, PFF graded the Dawan Jones as an elite pick. Isaiah McGuire, very good. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson as above average. This leads us to the next pick, Cameron Mitchell at 142. No. Yeah, 142.
Yeah, it was around there.
Cornerback out of Northwestern. I think he can be a special teamer. Maybe come in for a couple plays on defense, fight for a starting job. Nothing. It's kind of just like a later round cornerback. I think it was just more of a depth piece. I like it. I'm all about depth. You always want people who will come in and make the team better, who will push the starters to play harder. And if injuries happen in football, so hopefully you want these younger guys to be ready. So I don't have a lot to say about it, but chime in if you need to.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be great on special teams because he's actually pretty decent against the run. He's a decent run defender for a cornerback, and he plays bigger than he is. He's 5'11", 191, kind of looks like he's 6'1", 205 with the way that he likes to play. He's definitely not going to be a starter for this defense, in my opinion. I think that he'll be great for punt return, kickoff, kick return. So I like him as a special teams player. Maybe he can develop into a cornerback at the NFL level, but it's kind of TBD at this time.
And this leads us to another pick that I love.
Yeah, I thought this was an absolute fucking steal.
I see. This is what I'm saying. Like, at first glance, I looked at their draft and I was like, oh man, I think they might have had the worst draft. But I love the Cleveland Browns draft, honestly. And especially after watching this man's tape, Ohio State center Luke Weipler at number 190. He was the center for Ohio State. PFF has it as an elite grade. I love this pick. This man was, I really watched a lot of the Georgia game, and he was able to handle Jalen Carter. And like I said, Jalen Carter, or my opinion was Jalen Carter was the best player in this year's draft, and he was able to hold his own. So I love this. I think he can come in and start, if not, be a future starter for sure. I love this pick. I really, really do.
Yeah, for me, the fact that they got him at pick 190 is just mind-boggling. He was in my top 5 interior offensive linemen as well, I believe. And for a center, he's pretty athletic.
Holy crap. FYI, PFF has had them as their number 2 center.
Yeah, he was in my top 5. Like, the guy's a good freaking center, and he can move the pile, especially in the run game. He's good in pass blocking sets. Like you said, he was able to handle Jalen Carter. Mm-hmm. And there are some clips of him handling Jalen Carter one-on-one. Like, it's not like he's just getting assistance. Like, he moves up well to the second level. He's a very smart player. He helps the quarterback out. Dude, he's solid. I do not know how he picked to 190. This was one of my biggest steals of the draft, honestly, for interior offensive linemen. So good job to the Cleveland Browns getting him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If I'm grading this draft, I'm giving an A. I love their draft. I'm giving it an A. I love this draft a lot. So
I'm gonna give it an A minus. I like we talked about. I like the middle of their draft a little bit more, and their very last pick. I like Cedric Tillman. I'm not the highest on him. I like Siaki Ika. I'm not the highest on him. I have my concerns about DeJuan Jones, but I think all 3 of those players have a very high ceiling for where they can get to, where they can take their game to. They can take the next step, but I want to see it. I'm kind of just going off of my own projections right here. So that's why I'm just a little bit behind you. I'm at an A minus, but it's still a very solid draft, especially since they didn't have a first or a second round pick. So good for the Browns.
Yeah. I think they immediately have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters here. And they've only had, and then 2 just depth pieces. So I like it a lot. Let's move on to the last team in the division, Pittsburgh Steelers, who I think had a very good draft.
I freaking love the Pittsburgh Steelers draft.
All right. Let's take it away, Dane.
So first at pick number 14, they took tackle Broderick Jones from Georgia, who we talked about. He got beat a little bit by Isaiah McGuire. That was earlier in the season last year, but then he just kind of stepped up and then really didn't get beat too terribly much. I think he's going to help tremendously for Pittsburgh because they had a terrible, terrible offensive line. And, he offers a little bit of versatility across the offensive line. I think you could possibly put him at right or left. He's a solid human being. I think that he's 6'4", 6'5", around there, 300 pounds, got good size to him, got good long arms. They're almost 35-inch arms, ran under a 5-second 40, which is huge, especially for how big he is. I like him, man. He's going to be utilized in both the run and the pass game. So I think that they had a really good, solid pick for their first overall.
Yeah, I love it immediately. They needed to bolster up that offensive line. It was kind of bad last year, and immediately helps Kenny Pickett out. Hopefully if he is their future, they want to keep him around for a while. So I like the pick a lot. Their next pick, I love even more.
Yes.
Not necessarily talent wise, just like
the fit.
I think this pick does more for the culture. I think, drafting a Pennsylvania kid, a son of a former Steeler, and a good player, I think that does wonders for the Steelers culture, which not that they've been lacking, but I think that can just improve it even more. They drafted Penn State cornerback Joey Porter Jr. at number 32. And, he was, I think, the third or fourth best cornerback, still really good. Like you said, I think he can be like a little handsy, but I just love this pick. I love this pick, and this is one of 2 picks that we got correct.
Yes, we actually did project Pittsburgh getting Joey Porter Jr., and that was mostly just because we wanted them to. I think that he does come in and helps this team as well. The cornerback room, they could use a lot more talent, a lot more help. But, Joey Porter Jr., if he's able to position himself, I think he's the best man corner in this class, personally. He's just really got to watch the hand usage because he grabs more than any cornerback in this class, in my opinion. If he can clean that up a little bit and still position himself as well as he did at the college level, the collegiate level, I think he'll be just fine. He's physical. He's a big cornerback too. Isn't he like, he's 6'2" and a half, 193 pounds. So he's got good size to him. He's athletic. He runs a 4.4, almost jumped 11 feet. So he's explosive. I like this pick. I like Joey Porter Jr. and the story behind it. So yeah, it's a solid pick. And they got him in the second round, which is huge because I thought that he was a first round lock.
Yep. Their next pick, Keanu Benton. I don't know if you guys have watched tape on him, but this looks like a Pittsburgh guy. He looks like a Pittsburgh Steeler defensive lineman.
Just rough and gritty.
Yeah, just, they love to run that like 3-4, I believe, in Pittsburgh. And, this guy probably can play nose. He's most likely going to play D tackle, I think. But, he's just stuffs to run,
He's
pushes
a
lineman back.
Physical defensive lineman. He's got good physicality, good strength to him.
Yeah, constantly hit the quarterback in college. I like this pick. I think I think their defense was a little bit lacking last year, and I think they wanted to clean that up because, this is a physical division, very physical division, and you're not going to make it. You're not going to win the division if you don't have a defense. And, they wanted to bolster that up. So I like this pick definitely for the depth and, rotational piece.
Yeah, and I like it a lot. I think this is a Mike Tomlin guy.
Yeah, real quick. Broderick Jones, PFF grade, average. Joey Porter Jr., elite grade. And Keanu Benton is a good PFF grade. But take it away.
Yeah, no, I don't have too much to say other than what we've already talked about with Keanu Benton. I think that he's going to come in and immediately impact the run game for Pittsburgh. I think that this run defense is going to be a lot better. And plus, he's another one of those players who you always see in the backfield. He's always disrupting, kind of like a Siaki Ika, but more athletic.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what he looked like to me. This next pick, I think it was a steal.
100%. This is one of the biggest steals. I don't know what the medical was because we're talking about tight end Darnell Washington. This man should not have been here. They got him at pick 93. That is absolutely insane. Like some mocks had him going in the first round. Like his athleticism, his size, he's 6'7", 264 pounds. He's huge. Almost has 35-inch arms, runs a 4.6 40, had the incredible one-handed catch in the combine. He didn't get utilized as much at Georgia in the passing game because you have Broderick Jones, who's going to be the number 1 tight end next year.
Brock Bauer.
Who did I say?
Broderick Jones.
Brock Bowers, excuse me. Yes. Brock Bowers. But yeah, and this is like having another lineman. He is as strong as almost any lineman I've seen. When they were showing the combine of him pushing the sled, he is the only tight end who was just driving it. Everyone else kind of lifted the dummy up, the sled a little bit, and then moved it maybe a couple feet. This man pushed it like 20 yards. He's got incredible strength, and he's going to help the running game and help Najee Harris out big time.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. The athletic traits for him are awesome. He's going to be a sweet second tight end. He's going to be another weapon for Kenny Pickett, which is awesome. They got Pat Freiermuth. Now they have Darnell Washington. They have the wide receivers on the outside. They have Najee. But I think his biggest contribution is protection for Kenny Pickett. And like you said, adding that run game blocking. So I think Pittsburgh is, if Kenny Pickett can pull it together, I think they've upgraded quite a bit. But I love this pick. I think it was a steal. I love this next pick as well. Nick Herbig out of
Yes.
Wisconsin.
Bring the
number
brothers
132.
together.
Yes. So brothers together on the Steelers once again. But this man, I wouldn't say he's a every down type of defensive player, but I definitely think you can throw him on third down and he's just going to get after it. He's going to I think he's going to contribute on that D line, and I think he's going to make the Pittsburgh Steelers feared again. Steel curtain style. I like the way he rushes the passer. I think he's a little undersized, but that's why I think just putting him down for special teams and third down passing downs. So I like it. I like the pick.
I think he's got decent size. He's 6'2", 240, so he's not like too terribly small for a linebacker, but I definitely think he's going to find himself on special teams first and foremost. He kind of reminds me of what the Chargers did with Nick Neiman, who they got from Iowa, linebacker from Iowa. Good athletic run defender, can get after the quarterback, really athletic blitzing. And I like that, but he's going to find most of his usage, I think, in special teams at first, and then possibly can find the field as a linebacker later in the year. I think that he can be utilized. Mm-hmm. So I like the pick a lot.
I do too. I also like this next pick a lot. Corey Trice Jr. out of Purdue, cornerback, number 241. This is a physical dude, man.
Yeah, he's a big cornerback too. 6'3", 206. Like, he's got some size to him, and he's fast. 4.47, 11-foot broad jump. Gives you all the athleticism you need.
Yeah. And sorry, FYI, PFF graded the Darnell Washington as a very good, Nick Herbig, very good, and Corey Trice as elite grades. Yeah. So I think this guy, if he doesn't immediately start, I think he will later in the year. And I think he contributes in special teams for sure. I mean, if you're going to be on the team, you're going to contribute on special teams. Sorry. That's just the way it goes. But I think he will make his way into the starting lineup by the end of the year. I like him. He looks very physical, looks like a Pittsburgh guy. Watch his tape. It's fun to watch.
I think him and Joey Porter Jr. are very similar in certain aspects with their physicality. I think it's a good duo to have out on the field. Mm-hmm. If you want physicality, you got two cornerbacks who are both big, first and foremost, and physical. Mm-hmm. Like Jake said, it's bringing back this steel curtain days. And, they're seeming like they're going to get back to the grounded pound type of football that, Pittsburgh is known for. Rough and rowdy, baby. And I think these cornerbacks are definitely going to help, especially in the run game too. I think they can be utilized against the run, especially, and not only that, but the pass game. So yeah, I like Corey Trice as well. I can see why it got an elite grade from PFF. I don't think he should have been here this late.
Yeah. Their last pick, Spencer Anderson.
This was another player I could not find much on. I'm going to be honest.
I couldn't find any tape on him. But again, offensive lineman, you want a lot of offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. And they're always
good to
down.
have depth.
Yep. So there you go. And, he can come in and play field goal unit.
There you go. But guys, we got a grade.
Yep. And I would grade this A. I like it.
I would give this a solid A.
Yep.
So I didn't go lower than an A-, but I had 2 A's and 2 A-. I overall liked what this division did.
Yeah, I only had 1 B, and everybody else I gave a solid A to. I don't think it was. I think there's really only a couple teams that deserved an A+. We'll talk about them later, but I think this entire division got better. And if I had to rank them in this order, how would you rank them if you had to rank them?
I would probably go Pittsburgh 1, Cincy 2, and then the other 2 I would say are a tie. Baltimore and Cleveland are very neck and neck for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think for me it's Steelers, Browns, Bengals, Ravens. Like clear cut. Yeah, clear cut. Like I think the Ravens, I guess if you could say the worst, because you can't, because you won't know. Again, guys, if you guys are caring about your team's grades, it's impossible to know. I mean, unless there's a clear reach, like your team taking a kicker in the third. But even then, it's like it was a need. And if you want the best kicker, you take him, I guess, early. But, draft grades are kind of stupid. Draft grades are stupid until, 3 or 4 years later when you find out what they're actually made of. So we're just ranking them within the division.
I do want to say this. Justin Herbert was projected to be a bust by almost every analyst. PFF was not high on him. Analysts all over were saying the biggest bust potential in the NFL was Justin Herbert taking it 6. And here we are. Justin Herbert proved everyone wrong. And like we said, players go undrafted and become Hall of Famers. Antonio Gates. These are just Charger players that I know. I love it.
Yep. It's not what happens in the draft. It's what happens after.
Exactly. It's how you play out on the field. And guys, that is going to do it for this episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed listening to your teams. If you were a fan of one of these teams from the AFC North, let us know how we did. If we broke down these players, or if we articulated enough, or if we were articulate, just let us know. How do we do? You like our grades? You like what we said about your players? If not, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. What he said. I don't give a shit.
I think I said articulate and I meant to say articulate. I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
Same. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to be doing every division. And hopefully we can do it before the schedule release, because then we are going to do playoff, or we're going to do weekly predictions right before. We're going to break down every division, where each team ranks, and we're going to get that all done before the start of the season, because it's the first day. Well, we're recording this May 1st, and that means we only got two months until summer training starts, and then three months until holy shit, 3 months until preseason.
Yeah. Holy
crap. The season is approaching, guys.
I love it.
Attention.
I love it.
Me too. Can't get enough. I know, our significant others don't, but fuck it. All right. If you guys are still here, thanks for listening. And as always, peace.